this is going to serve as a synopsis of an ongoing theme of mine to talk about Davidson County issues in a way that I hope Davidson County residents can plainly understand, or even surrounding communities, because it's going to eventually affect all of us. Freddie O'Connell is raising taxes this year. The last time, and by me speaking plainly and openly about this and telling you plainly how this goes, it might prevent a future opportunity for Freddie to come on the show again. That's all well and good. I understand that completely. But I'm not going to shy away from the truth because Freddie dangles accessibility over our heads and uses it or weaponizes it like a bludgeon. Freddie O'Connell told us the last time he was on this show when we asked if he was planning on raising property taxes that, well, Matt, it's an assessment year, and an assessment year is a time to reflect and to see if you have appropriate taxes on the people and if you're at the appropriate levels. That says to me everything I need to know. Everything points to at least a 10% property tax increase, and I would suggest it's going to be more like 20%. That's what I'm hearing, because Freddie doesn't like the idea of losing some of this federal money in the form of federal grants that he was depending on to make his transit plan work. Well, if he can't get the federal money from his transit plan, he's got to get the money from somewhere, because this is a signature plan of Freddie's to make these little 15-minute city hubs and to make them accessible to everybody and to make bus riding cool again, or whatever the hell he thinks he's going to do, which isn't going to work. In the meantime, there is a push on the part of Freddie O'Connell to create pockets of what they are calling affordable housing opportunities. Affordable housing opportunities. What the hell does that mean? Now, what they don't want to do is to create what is commonly referred to as Section 8 housing, because you see people in those areas flee from the concept of Section 8 housing as fast as they can. So you see these pockets of, quote, affordable housing coming up, and if they pop up in the right way, I would suggest, ultimately, they price themselves out of the market for those who truly need to afford to be able to be housed. In other words, these apartment complexes pop up, and they pop up at the tune of $2,500 an apartment, and people that need affordable housing can't actually afford that housing, and you bring more people into the areas that you put this housing at, and it doesn't really work. In the meantime, John Ingram is said to be holding money over the head of the city to get his way on the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. I am told through sources of my own that John Ingram is offering monies for affordable housing, but only and if a referendum goes before the people of Davidson County to change the charter of this city so as to eliminate auto racing or racing generally from the charter in the Metro Nashville Council's creation. Right now, racing is a part of the charter. You are to have racing at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. And the powers that be, including John Ingram, owner of Geodis Park, owner of the soccer club, owner of a lot of things around town, multi-gajillionaire, this guy wants that property and has always wanted that property. Look, I don't know the guy. John Ingram could be the nicest guy on planet Earth, but he has his agenda and he has his priorities set. And if it goes against what the majority of Davidson County wants, he's going to do it anyway. And he's going to do it using his money as a bludgeon himself. And I am told that he's holding that money over the head of the mayor and over the head of the Metro Council. And he will offer some monies of his own on the affordable housing front if and only if he gets his way regarding that charter petition to go before the people of Davidson County in the next general election cycle. The idea of property taxes and the Fairground Speedway and affordable housing are all interrelated, and they're all going to come to a head virtually at the same time in the next several months. What type of city do you want? I don't know that there's anything that you can do if you live in Davidson County that would stop property tax increases. because Freddie has decided that it's not going to hurt him at the polls if he decides to run for mayor again. He believes that the majority of the people will vote for him anyway. Secondarily, John Ingram, he doesn't fear you or me. He just wants his way. And unless there is a unified and concerted effort to stop what he's trying to do, he is going to use money to pay off, albeit legally, pay off politicians to get his way. Because it's a legal thing he's doing, right? Hey, guys, I got $4 or $5 million over here for affordable housing. Y'all want it? Yeah, we want it. Well, why don't you give me that charter petition up on the ballot, will you? I'll handle the rest. The idea is if Ingram can push the city around to get that charter back up for another vote, he will push around this city using his money and influence and get the vote to go in his favor. And once you get racing out of that charter, that speedway is toast. Now, that might be fine for you. Maybe you don't care for racing anyway. Maybe you don't care for the history of the city anyway. But I've seen it happen too many times in too many communities. And I am passionate about it. We saw it in Brian Wilson on this afternoon show, and I tried to do my little part. I was fresh into the city. Remember when they were going to close down the Ernest Tubb record shop? And they were just going to close it down, raise it, turn it into some other honky-tonk. I'm not against bars and honky-tonks and that sort of thing, but there's only one Ernest Tubb record shop, and it, we believe, has been saved, and they're working on it. They've salvaged the sign, and they're going to work on getting it back up as some sort of museum. That takes effort. I've been through this in Birmingham. I've been through it in Montgomery, Alabama. I've been through it in my hometown of Augusta, Georgia. When you lose these cultural touchstones, like that racetrack has been out there since 1904. They were racing horses in 1904. Racing automobiles since what, the 1940s? Once it's gone, it's gone. And 10, 12, 14, 18 years from now, folks will sit around Nashville and talk about the way things used to be. Remember when remember when Fairgrounds, but whatever happened to that? Why didn't they save that? What, didn't Bristol want to put a bunch of money into that? Now it's just condos. Now it's just a parking lot.